I thank my colleagues, and if our panelists will accommodate us, we'll have a second round of questioning. If you can all stay, thank you. I recognize myself for 5 minutes for questioning. Mr. Wessel and Ms. Van Cleave, the China-United States Exchange Foundation, a China-based and government-connected foundation, is registered as a foreign agent representing China. Do you find it concerning that some universities in the United States have accepted funding from this foreign agent, and how should universities handle outside organizations like this when it comes to potential funding? Mr. Wessel.
I find it very troubling, and talk about that briefly in my testimony. It's a function of a number of things, including the funding problems I think was referred to earlier that we face with higher education. They are seeking these funds. They are seeking foreign students who often pay the full boat when they're applying. I think at number one, we should be monitoring their activities. Number two, we should be requiring that students who attend those programs be informed of the nature of the sponsorship. The curriculum, the personnel are chosen by the Chinese government or those working for the Chinese government, and their materials should have a disclaimer on it so people understand that this is an attempt to influence, and it's essentially propaganda.
Ms. Van Cleave.
It's hard to add to that statement. I fully endorse what Michael said. This is a serious concern. Of course, it is also an opportunity when we know that there's a specific foreign interest in a particular university from a counterintelligence perspective. It shines a light that nation state has a particular interest here and is willing to invest money in it, but it's small compensation for the risk presented.
Is there enhanced vetting at the federal level for a foreign exchange student out of a potential threat nation state like China, where there's examples of intellectual property theft? Is there enhanced vetting at the federal level right now, prior to the university level?
Not that I am aware of. Others on the panel may have a different
insight there should be.
On that. But as long as they're meeting the requirement for the visa to be issued and they have the support of the university, we are a very open and welcoming country.
Well, let me ask you each this question. How can United States universities vet or conduct due diligence on potential Chinese or other foreign partners that may have access to our laboratories and in our universities?
My view, that's primarily a governmental role and not the universities, but that where there are, again, research that's going on either with cleared defense contractors, with governmental agencies where there's federal money, there should be a certain level of scrutiny. And to your earlier question, one of the problems we found at the China Commission was that foreign students were coming in under visas, for example, to study liberal arts, and they would change a semester later to physics, to computer sciences, et cetera, where there may be threats that we want to look at. Universities should be responsible when the terms of a student's participation at the university has changed to talk to the authorities, inform them, and then leave it to the authorities as to whether there should be follow-up.
Do you believe vetting at the federal level should be tied to the intended course of study for a foreign exchange student?
I believe for the target of the research, and so I'm focused more on the laboratory work that's done rather than just the general teaching at a university. So a computer science course is one thing, but if that person goes into a computer science lab where there may be work on encryption, for example, that should have higher scrutiny.
And for federally funded university laboratories, should there not be a responsibility to report that adjustment of that student's intended course of study?
Yes, as I said earlier, if they change the terms of their visas of when they came here and what the situation they were supposed to enter, if that changes, there should be information to the federal government.
Thank you for your answers. I recognize my colleague, Mr. Byer, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr.